Thank you for being with us on the Feast of St. Katari Tekakwitha. Our top story tonight, the Biden administration tells hundreds of thousands of borrowers who took out billions of dollars in federal student loans that their loans will automatically be forgiven in the coming weeks. White House Correspondent Owen Jensen reports. Owen?
Tracy, the move comes just days after the U.S. Supreme Court struck down a $400 billion Biden administration plan to let 43 million people off the hook for the federal student loans.
President Joe Biden, just back from his trip to Europe, heads to Marine One on his way to Camp David. Earlier in the day, the Biden administration announces what it calls a historic step, wiping away $39 billion in student loan debt. Who gets it? The administration says 804,000 borrowers who have been paying down their debts for 20 years or more and should qualify for relief. Instead, many were placed into forbearance by loan servicers in violation of the rules, and others did not get appropriate credit for their monthly payments. Meanwhile, Ukraine. Here, medics in a field hospital treat injured soldiers from an area near Bakhmut. The White House describes the current fighting.
And what we do know is that the Russians still have a significant amount of forces in Ukraine on defense in depth all along from Bakhmut all the way down to Zaporizhia, and there's some vicious fighting going on.
And overseas in Indonesia, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken with this warning about food.
It is essential that we extend and expand the Black Sea Grain Initiative, which Russia is threatening to end once again on July 18. If Moscow follows through on its threat, developing countries, including in the region, will pay the price, including quite literally with higher food prices as well as greater food scarcity.
Also making headlines, this presidential action called ordering the selected reserve and certain members of the individual ready reserve of the armed forces to active duty, to augment the active armed forces of the United States for the effective conduct of Operation Atlantic Resolve in and around the United States European Command's area of responsibility, not to exceed 3,000 total members at any one time.
Regarding that order, Senator Ted Cruz calls it reckless and dangerous. And former President Donald Trump, who's running for office in 2024, called it a reckless escalation and risking a world war. Right now, there are 80,000 U.S. troops in Europe, and this move will not increase that number. At the White House, Owen Jensen, EWTN News Nightly.